The truth of the matter is, Batman vs. Superman just wasn't a good movie. Hey guys.
Hi guys!
Alright, so we just got out of Suicide Squad. A lot to talk about. First off, though, we want to talk about Batman vs. Superman. It was a movie review we wanted to do, but we just couldn't find it in us to do it. We waited all the way to Ultimate Edition to think, okay, well, now we're really going to be able to do something because it's going to explain the story, the 30-minute more video footage, yada, yada, yada. The truth is, though, we don't like to make videos bashing things or talking bad about things because it just wastes our time. We don't want to sit and edit a video for 3 hours when it's just going to be something like that. So the truth of the matter is, Batman vs. Superman just wasn't a good movie.
It really wasn't. It was very dull, very boring, very blasé.
A lot of plot holes, and it was two, maybe three movies in one, and it shouldn't have been. Just not very good. Just not very good. So with that said, let's talk about Suicide Squad. So you know where we stand with Batman vs. Superman. What are our opinions on Suicide Squad? We went in with low expectations because we've seen on Rotten Tomato that it got like a 27, I think, for a critic score.
Very low.
Very low, and then the user score was like 74, I think. Don't quote me on that.
So you're like on drastic ends.
Drastic ends. Everybody's either saying it's really bad or really good.
Yeah,
no middle.
There's no middle ground.
So that's weird, and that always kind of warns me, okay, well, then this is all up for interpretation, or people are just simply hating on it.
Right.
Mainly probably because of Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, and a lot of people lost faith in DC after Batman vs. Superman.
And understandably. Now, the characters in Batman vs. Superman didn't do bad. The actors, I thought, were fine.
They did a great job.
It was just the storyline was awful. It was just all over the place. It was just bad. So with Suicide Squad, was the storyline bad?
No, I thought the storyline was really good.
The plot of the movie, without giving everything away, was Amanda Waller thought about, this is in the wake of Superman's death, she was thinking, well, what happens if somebody like Superman but bad would come here and basically rip the ceiling or the roof off a White House and take the president or whatever? What do we do? So she decides, well, we need to get together this group of metahumans, which happens to be the Suicide Squad bad guys, and fight that. You know, just be ready to have a little army just in case something like that comes.
Right.
The only problem with that was they're bad people, and bad people do bad things, right?
Right.
So we'll just give you that. Now, of course, there probably will be some spoilers in here. It's a little hard to not spoil everything. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, hold off maybe, or we won't give a we might have to give away.
We're gonna have to. I'm
sorry. Just come back. So yeah, she goes off and snatches up her metahumans and creates a Suicide Squad.
Well, she uses Batman to snatch up most of them.
Yeah, that's your Flash. They brought Flash into the movie, which is awesome.
Which is nice.
Didn't think that was going to happen. He's the one that catches Captain Boomerang, which is really cool. I really like that way.
I liked that scene.
And Deadshot gets captured by Batman. Now, let's talk about the characters real quick before we go more into the movie. Number one, Harley Quinn. How did you think Margot Robbie did?
Margot Robbie nailed Harley Quinn, hit it out of the park. Every expectation I ever had of having a live-action Harley was fulfilled by Margot Robbie. I have a girl crush on Margot Robbie now. That was so good.
Margot Robbie nailed it. And the thing I liked about her interpretation is she didn't go off and try to make something on her own, really. You could tell she went to the animated series and said, okay, this is what I need.
She was like, what do the fans love about Harley? Let me magnify that by 1,000,000 and I'm gonna nail it.
Yeah, and she did. She really nailed it. Number one, for the fans, I love how she brought out her leotard.
Yes!
And they had a lot of cut scenes in this movie everywhere, good or bad.
Flashbacks.
You know. Yeah, flashbacks, just all kinds of like storytellers they had to do. Well, one of them is when she pulls out her leotard, her black and red.
Oh my God.
No, it's great. And then it cut to her and Joker kind of doing the mad love thing. It was fantastic. When I saw that, I was like,
I squealed.
Okay,
I was like, oh my God, this is great.
They did put a lot of comedy in this movie. That's like the number one thing that they went back and did. But I think
the comedy in this movie is not overdone or overpowered.
No, and Marvel does it really well. I mean, that's the thing. DC's now out. They're late to the game, basically.
Yeah.
Marvel has shown up and they said, we're the bullies on the block. And you got to be like us. And we saw Batman vs. Superman. They tried to do their own thing. And it didn't work. It just didn't succeed. There was no... I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a lot of comic relief, but you do need some.
The great thing about a lot of these characters is you can do a lot of comic relief with them, and it doesn't take away from their character.
Because they're kind of loony. You know, they're all kind of loony.
They're a little mad.
So, speaking of mad, let's talk about the main thing everybody's worried about in Joker.
I liked Joker a lot. Even the tattoos, the teeth, everything. I felt like he took the best of all of the previous Jokers, wrapped them into one burrito, and delivered. It was really good.
Yeah, so Joker, Jared Leto did a good job. There were small parts in there like, whoa, tone it back a little bit.
I didn't think so.
Most of it, I liked it. It's a very different Joker.
Very
if you guys haven't seen it, it's a very, very different Joker. But it's not done. He's crazy. What would you say he is? He's a crazy, psychotic. I don't know what he is. He's just something different. He's definitely like a prison yard Joker.
He's exactly what you think Joker would be, because Joker's the type of character that you're never supposed to know what they're thinking or be able to figure them out, and that's exactly what Jared Leto did.
He did a good job. The tattoo damage on his forehead bothered me like normal.
I didn't even notice it.
But yeah, they filmed it. They filmed it in a way where they didn't really show it that much, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And really, after seeing it, I didn't think Harley Quinn's tattoos were that awful.
They didn't bother me at all. I think they actually added to her character in a way that gave her a little bit more
edge.
Yeah, edge. That's the perfect word for it.
So I'm okay with it. That's good. Those are the two main things we were worried about. Harley and Joker. What is going to happen with those characters? Because that's going to tell where Batman specifically is going to go in the cinematic universe of DC. And I feel good about it.
I feel really good about this.
Joker's crazy.
I am so hopeful that they're going to come out with a Harley Quinn movie on her own with like Poison Ivy or something.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Joker is... He's actually crazier than Heath Ledger's Joker in this
one. He is, but in a good way.
As a psychopathic murderer.
I feel like Heath Ledger's Joker was a little bit more darker and a little bit more unknown. Yeah. This Joker's more in your face. Like, Jared Leto lets you know a little bit into his mind what he's thinking. And the fact that he loves Harley as much as Harley loves him made my heart just swell.
The relationship they show in the movie is all Harley and Joker. That's what made this movie really good to us, just because we're fans of that. She's a huge Harley Quinn fan. I love Harley. So just the relationship back and forth, texting during the movie, saying, come get me, break me out, whatever.
Like how was a great touch. When you're first like dating, in love.
Yeah, I'm hiding in the front yard. Hurry, come out to the house. Hurry before your dad sees me or whatever. That's what it was like in a way.
It was so sweet.
Okay, so we're happy with Joker and Harley. Big thumbs up there. Let's go into Deadshot and Will Smith. Will Smith is the type of actor that you either get everything for him or you get nothing for him. And I have to say, Deadshot really helped this movie a lot. Will Smith helped this movie a lot.
I think if Will Smith wasn't in the role of Deadshot, this movie wouldn't have been as successful as it's going to be. Because he did such a great job with that. I could not believe how happy I was with his performance.
He did a great job. He really had something deeper inside of him, you know, knowing that his daughter, you know, he couldn't see his daughter and everything. He had a lot of problems in his head, but he didn't overact it, I didn't think.
I don't think he overacted. I think he did a great job. I feel like he made the connection to like how he would personally feel if he wasn't able to see one of his kids, and he brought that to the screen and just carried it, and it was so good.
A lot of the trailer things where they seemed really stupid, like where he said, "Oh, are we some kind of Suicide Squad, or are we some patsies?" In the movie, it was okay.
It made sense. It was okay.
Good. So big thumbs up too with Will Smith. We totally liked Deadshot in this movie. Yeah. Now Captain Boomerang, he was fun.
He was so funny. Every time he was on screen, I'm like, I need more. This is great. I loved the scene where that they're at the bar and they're like, all right, everybody, we're gonna go, and he just grabs all of his beers and he's like, peace, I'm gone.
Well, he broke the phone or whatever to say that they couldn't blow their heads off, and he was like, I'm getting my beers, I'm getting out of here. That was awesome. He is the comic relief in the movie. That's his sole.
So good.
That's his sole reason for being in the movie. They decided, okay, you're the comedy in this movie. And it worked. I thought it did good because he always has his pink unicorn and everything. It was good. I thought he did really fantastic. El Diablo. He was interesting.
Oh my god, I loved him so much. It broke my heart. I felt like I wanted to go into that movie and just hug him.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job.
Oh,
you know,
he did
for what his thing was. You know, they were always like teasing with what his powers actually were. How powerful are you? And you don't find out until the end really what his power is.
When he comes out in his true form, I about fell on the floor. I was like, oh my god, is this real?
And he had a good backstory, you know, his superpower of fire or whatever.
You've got to see the movie to like...
Spoiler, he killed his family, basically. Oh god. His wife and kids, he killed them. So he always had that. He didn't want to be El Diablo anymore because of that. And then at the end of it, he saves his new family, which was good. I thought it was a good touch for the storyline. I thought that was
so great. I loved him so much. I felt like that was a great way to connect with a lot of women. Like, I'm sure women are going to be swooning over him because I know I am.
Yeah, that's kind of what you need to do in movies nowadays. You need to kind of cater to the women, you know, kind of the love side of it. And the guys where the action, you know, this dude's badass.
And there's so many characters that are swoon-worthy in this. And it's not just like... Diablo, where you're swooning over like his story, how much of a good person he's trying to become.
Yeah, sort of the anti-hero.
But you can swoon over all of like the relationships and how different characters are affected by the deaths of their loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Which we'll go into later,
Yeah.
because there was some good stuff like that. Rick Flagg, I don't know how I felt about him. I don't know.
did a good job
I thought
in
there were
that.
parts of it he kind of overacted a little bit and just didn't kind of feel his way into it. Just
Yeah,
kind of went with it.
he did.
So I think he could have been better, but I didn't have a problem with it. He didn't ruin the movie by any means. He still did a good job as far as that goes. I just didn't. I don't know. It could have been just everybody did such a good job.
I was gonna say, we were so impressed with everyone else that I felt like he was just kind of meh.
Katana. So we saw Katana. She's basically there to help Rick Flagg. She's his bodyguard.
Yeah.
Of course, she has her Soul Taker blade. And it's kind of an interesting way to see Katana on the screen.
I loved it. I thought it was an excellent portrayal of Katana. And the scene, spoiler, and the scene where she's like talking to her husband, crying, saying, "Honey, I might be joining you soon." I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my god! And she just like had all of these like messy, ugly tears, and it looked really excellent.
She was cool. They didn't really have a whole lot, but they did bring her in.
Yeah.
You know, it was just good. I thought she did okay.
Really,
She
yeah.
didn't have a huge part of it. I mean, she did, but she didn't at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, though, I thought she did fine. I don't know if I was a fan of the mask. I thought it was a little chunky on her face.
Yeah, I felt like it wasn't very feminine, so it didn't really form to her face.
Yeah, but that's all I can say about that. Enchantress. This was my favorite.
Character design?
Yeah, just like what they did with her was amazing.
I loved how she had the black mist and it was always around her, and how she could just shoot from scenes and it looked good.
Enchantress. My favorite scene in the movie was when she puts her hand down on the desk and those black fingers come up and then her hand turns around and she's Enchantress. That was sick.
That was so creepy.
That was great. I mean, really what they did with her entire character and her like orange pupils, and she was
I loved her.
scary looking, and like them thin legs and her big joints. You know, 'cause sometimes when you're really thin, your legs are thinner than your joints.
Yeah.
And that looks cool when you're just a shadow, all you can see is your silhouette and light behind you. And they played with that all over the movie here. I thought she did a great job. You know, with her whole story going down in a hole and finding this witch doctor spirit, and you know, becoming that. And of course, she later broke out and then found her brothers too, and that's kind of where we got the bad guy in this movie and what the Suicide Squad had to fight. But overall, Enchantress, it was a fun watch. Just seeing her every time she was on screen, I was like, this is cool. I really like this.
Yes, and I loved her line at the end of the movie. I won't say what it was, but oh my gosh, that was a good scene.
Yeah, that was so good. That was awesome. And then finally, Killer Croc. Killer Croc, this is the first...
You were like, meh.
I hated it, guys. I just can't... Look, where do I begin? I don't like what they did with Killer Croc's everything,
I
to be
think
quite honest with you. Number one, his head was like this big and his body was like this small. I was thrown off because Killer Croc, you just imagine some huge buff
Big
guy.
buff dude.
And he had this like kind of smaller body and this gigantic head. And I mean, like, the design was cool. I thought the scales
I was gonna
and
say, I
everything,
really liked
that
the
was
scales.
cool.
I loved his teeth. They're very sharp and intimidating.
Yeah, he had a scary mouth. He got a pretty mouth. I don't know. But he was like the same size as everybody. His height.
He
which
was. He should have
stupid.
been a little bit taller.
I just feel like they didn't know what to do with this character. They just kind of reverted to stereotypical urban guy.
I
You know?
think so.
I didn't care for that. I thought they really wasted that. I thought they could have made something really cool, and they failed.
I
They
think
failed
that
with
Killer Croc should be very, like, an intimidating, overbearing guy, and he wasn't that.
He wasn't even tall. I bet you Ben Affleck's taller than him.
He might be.
I'm sorry, but I can't have Killer Croc shorter than Batman. I just can't do it. It doesn't
No.
work for me. And I just thought they didn't really know what to do with this character. They just were kind of like, well, I guess we could kind of put a hoodie on him and make him like he's,
Like a boxer.
something. I didn't care.
I
for
felt
it.
like he was about to come out like Rocky and knock someone out.
I didn't care for it. The 1 out of 6 isn't bad. Of course, we had Slipknot, which he didn't last very long, so why talk about his character? He was there to die. He was there to
He had 2
show
lines.
that Amanda Waller was being serious. We're going to blur
Amanda
it
Waller
out.
is psycho anyway.
She was
I've
psycho.
Never liked
We
her.
saw her in that position where she shot all those people that were
Oh my
working on her.
god,
like,
and Viola Davis.
She's cool.
She's
She's awesome.
Such
Great
a good
actress.
actress.
So that was cool. We saw her edge there. We were like, okay, Amanda Waller ain't playing around. She's not just some government suit. She means business.
Yeah, she doesn't play around in the comics either. She's not. She's like this subtle character that a lot of people don't really know, but when you read about her and she's in your story, she's very intimidating.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I thought the movie it was good. Some of the pacing was a little off, and I thought some of the cutscenes were a little off. I mean, the movie's not perfect, like a lot of movies, but one thing they did that I really enjoyed when they did have to do all these weird cuts to tell stories, so you can understand why it was a little difficult to follow sometimes, but which actually brings up a point. There were a lot of scenes in the movie they would say something and cut, and you couldn't understand what they said.
Yeah, they were kind of whispery.
They would say something, and you'd be like, what did he say?
Yeah.
I think we did that like 10 times
At
in this
least.
movie. So that'd be one thing I guess they'd have to work on is, make sure you say that and then cut
Nail
so we
the line.
know what it is, yeah. But that's here nor there. What I wanted to say was the cut scenes that they did do, they played a lot of music, like really good music.
I felt like I was at a hyped rave. It was awesome.
The movie, it was basically a movie and a concert in one. We enjoyed the music so much, we went out and bought the soundtrack right after
As
the movie.
soon as we left, we're like, let's go. We gotta buy it.
It really had some great music in it.
It did, and a lot of throwback songs, and I loved how a lot of them were redone from
Yeah, like
artists.
we heard Eminem in there, of course, 21 Pilots, and
Bohemian Rhapsody is a jam.
just all kinds of really good music in there. And that's what I really liked about this movie is they really kind of gave it sort of a hip feel, like a vibe to it. We always revert to Arkham, Escape from Arkham, and you kind of think of that. But this movie, I think, did everything I needed it to do.
It
was
did
fun.
everything.
When you go into the movie to watch it, don't expect like some crazy storyline, some Christopher Nolan storyline.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, it's just go in there and have fun and listen to music and just enjoy it.
The great thing about it is you get all of these characters in a movie that you've been dying to have their own movie, and it's so exciting for me. I thought the movie was excellent. I love that we finally are getting Harley in a live action, and I think that
Kill it.
oh my gosh, she oh god, so good.
Of course, we did see Batman in it too. He had a small roles
Small
here
little
and there.
cameos.
Yeah, and that was good. It was good to see him, and like we said, we saw Flash in there, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that. And then the end scene. The end scene was very cool.
It was so good. I loved it. There's a little sneak in.
This
That's
is
what
a
we're
big
talking about.
spoiler, so if you don't want to know and you haven't seen the movie, don't let this one spoil you. So we're going to talk about that right now. After the movie ended, we saw Joker get his girl.
Oh my god, when I thought Joker was dead, I was like, there ain't no way Joker is dead. You cannot kill Joker.
No, it's like the Superman. This is the Superman thing. Is Superman really dead? Of course he isn't dead.
He's not. And when Joker came busting through that wall to rescue Harley, I was like, yes! I was so hyped.
It's all about payoff. Movies are good when they have payoff.
Yeah.
And that's what made Batman vs. Superman so bad, is there was no real payoff in it.
Boring.
And so, they lead you this whole really cool relationship with Harley and Joker that we just enjoyed so much. They did a fantastic job with their relationship.
Yes.
That at the end, boom, there we go. We see that he's come to get his girl. He ain't playing.
I loved how in this movie we finally have that relationship. Like, you don't get it in the comics, or even in the animated series. He's very annoyed with Harley, and she's so in love
But
with
he still
him.
loves her.
Yes, but in this movie, you get to see, like, he loves her so, like, truly, madly, deeply that
Mad love.
I cannot get over it. I want to see this movie at least 12 more times.
The movie I do want to see a lot more. I mean, one thing they did with the acting in the movie I thought really worked is like with Jared Leto and everything, and even Harley Quinn. There were parts of it, like when Joker, pushes Harley Quinn over into the acid bath, he turns around like he's gonna leave.
Like he's killing her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you could see him like something come over and like, but I love her.
Yeah.
And I want to be a part of her.
It was so good.
It's those small subtle things. And then when we saw Harley after she thought Joker died, she was on the cop car, hey guys, or whatever, and then everybody knew that her put-in just died, and they all have their relationship problems too.
Well, most of their spouses are either dead or gone.
Yeah, or they can't see him or whatever.
Yeah.
So they all knew that she's faking it, and then she really did a good job portraying that. Saying
did.
secretly I'm devastated, but I'm trying to be something I'm not by happy, excited.
I loved how Diablo had this like compassion for her. You could see like in his face, like he just was like, I know how you feel.
I know
I'm
your pain.
Sorry.
Those subtle touches, they really
Just
work in a
little
movie like
things,
this.
yeah.
So the big question is, what made the movie good? Was it David Ayer over Zack Snyder? Was it the director? Because, we've had a lot of problems with Zack Snyder, I feel like, as far as superhero movies, whether it be Watchmen or anything. A lot of people weren't real crazy about that. Superman, a lot of people weren't real crazy about that. Is it him, or was it who he was dealing with? In my opinion, there was way too much going on in Batman vs. Superman. I think DC they really kind of picked the wrong thing to do. They thought that they should throw everything together and start the Justice League instead of just taking their time
building the
building
characters
the
up.
Justice League. That's what I think the big problem was. They rushed way too much. Well, this one, with David Ayer writing it, I'm not saying the story was perfect, because I don't think it was. I think that there was a lot of problems in the movie, which would lead me not to give it a perfect score or anything like that. I just think that the story of... If I was going to direct a film and make a film, I would much rather have this film to play with than Batman vs. Superman to play with.
That's for sure. I felt like this movie delivered on so many levels. There weren't as many plot holes in this film as there were in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, so I mean, it just made for a better fun. It's fun. It's a fun movie to go see.
It's a very fun movie.
One thing they did really well in the film, to end the movie basically, you know, it left you with wanting to see more of Joker, because we didn't see a whole lot of him.
Absolutely. You want more of Joker, you want more of Harley. I feel like you want more of all of the Suicide Squad.
Except for Killer Croc. I want you to take him and redo him, because I thought that was bad. I just didn't care for it. But yeah, it makes you want more of them. You want to hear more of their story.
Yeah.
I want to see more of Deadshot. I want to see more of Harley Quinn, especially, and I definitely want to see more of Joker to see, you know, how crazy can you actually get. It leaves me to be excited about when he is, you know, in Batman, the movies coming up, if he's their villain they decide to go with. Man, how nuts is this guy going to be?
I cannot wait to see how much into the deep end Jared Leto can go with Joker, because I'm excited.
If you're trying to decide, is the movie worth watching? Is it a good movie? Should I listen to the bad? Should I listen to the good? And what I would say is, don't listen to any of them. Just go in and watch it and have a good time.
It's so good.
It's much better than Batman vs. Superman. If you wanted to put it on like a chart compared to like a Marvel movie, I would say it can't exist on that chart, because it's so much different. It doesn't even exist in the same world as a superhero movie.
No, they're completely different realms, and it's a good realm to go to.
So much different. It's so fun. They do it sort of an urban sort of thing. They had great art on the screen. They were playing with it. They were having fun by putting, like, you know, they would have a description about who that character, who that member of Suicide Squad was. They didn't care about the cinematography. It wasn't serious. They didn't take the movie serious. I just thought the movie was good. So what would your score be out of 10 if you were to give it something? Tell me good things and tell me bad things.
Honestly, I would give it probably a 9.5 out of 10, because I think that the portrayal of all of the characters was excellent. I loved Harley. I'm telling you, like, I feel like if I don't get more of Harley in another movie, I might be crushed. Now, for bad things, I wish we would have had more of Joker. I think that his character could have used some more screen time for sure.
And I think you could look at that as bad or good.
Yeah,
I think it's good. It's
dangling
the carrot. It's making you want to see what's next, and that's what I like. So if I was going to give a score, you like it much more than I do, I think.
I loved it. I loved it so much.
Harley Quinn fan, you're going to love it, because this is the first time you finally get to see Harley Quinn.
I almost cried.
So for me, I would probably give it like a 7.5, 8. That's what I've heard. That's good. That's good. That's really good.
He's very strict on his rating.
I am. Like, if I was going to give Batman vs. Superman, I'd probably give it a 5 or whatever. And a 5 to a 7 is
5. I'd give it like a 3.
I'd give it a 5. I'd give it a 5, just because some of the fight scenes are pretty cool. I think I would give Suicide Squad an 8. I'm just gonna say an 8, because I don't think it deserves a 7. 8's good. It's a good movie.
9.5.
It's a fun movie. There are goods, there are bads. I would say the bad is the movie is grabbing scenes all over the place and trying to throw them together.
I like that, though, because
it's not cohesive in some areas, and that's fine. You know, it didn't ruin the movie by any means, because it was fun.
I feel like it all wrapped up really nicely at the end, though.
And I was going to say, what was good about it is they didn't leave those trails and just make you think. They really had a high payoff at the end where, you know, Joker breaks Harley out. Deadshot gets to see his daughter at the end. El Diablo, I guess. I assume he's dead, but he saved his new family. Killer Croc, I guess, got BET. That was the payoff, which was just stupid. Boomerang, what was his payoff, I guess?
He was like, let me out of this cell! He had nothing.
He was screaming, because what was interesting is the trailers that we saw before anybody knew about the movie or whatever, that was actually the end of the movie.
It was.
When they were screaming at the camera and stuff, that was the end of the movie. That wasn't the beginning of the movie. So that was kind of fun to wrap that up at the end. So that's the most important thing in my head in the movie, is you should leave the theater smiling, which we did.
I was smiling the whole time, so.
And you should have the payoff. That's what makes a movie worthwhile, is that payoff. And you had the payoff. And to look around in the audience in our theater when we left, everybody was happy.
Everybody was like, what did we just watch? That was so good.
And then the final cutscene was really fun. And this is a super spoiler, guys, if you haven't seen the movie yet. This one is the one you're not going to want to hear. At the very end, Amanda Waller has a meeting with Bruce Wayne now. And Bruce Wayne is telling her, you know, basically, he wants her folders of all the information she has of like metahumans and things like that. Of course, this time it actually happens to be good ones where we see Aquaman and Flash, and Enchantress was in there too. So I don't know what's going on with that.
That's kind of interesting.
So we saw that. Now he's building the Justice League. Now that's when it carries over to the Justice League trailer where we see him going through and finding Aquaman,
oh my God,
finding Barry Allen and stuff like that. That's why he knows that, is because he got those files from Amanda Waller, so that's cool.
And Amanda Waller drops a little bomb on him too. She's just like, I think you're working too many nights, and he was like, what? So she knows he is Batman.
I thought she already knew, and I thought he knew she knew, but I don't know. They kind of
it kind of seemed like he was like taken aback by it.
So honestly, guys, what our opinion would be is go see the movie.
Go see it.
I think the movie is good.
Buy it.
Personally, you think it's fantastic. She thinks it's utterly great.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time because, Harley is my girl, so...
I thought it was just good. I thought it was a good movie. It's definitely a step forward. It's a step forward in the DC Cinematic Universe, which is fantastic. This gets me excited. I don't know if it's David Ayer. I'm hoping it's just they know what they're doing now. But we'll see in the future. I'm just excited now. This is the movie we needed.
I'm stoked for Justice League and the future of DC movies after watching Suicide Squad.
So there you go, guys. Go see it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.